Truth, lies, shenanigans. 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 Truth, lies, shenanigans.
Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Hey friends, welcome to Truth, Lives, and Shenanigans, the live show for Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. My name is Neo, and I'll be working to try to keep these guys in line and on time. My co-host, to my left, the very popular Miss Lizzie.
What's up? What's up? Who's ready to hump out there? Happy hump day. Whoop, 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 whoop.
And in the opposite corner, our Canadian point of view, Rob B.
What's up, everyone? Good to be back.
And below me, the man with a badge, East.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
All right, for today's show, all hot topics again. Lizzie will be talking about the Breonna Taylor settlement. East takes on climate change. Rob B wonders about an NFL reporter being compared to a porn awards anchor. And I'll be talking mass hysterectomies on migrants. We have quite a show ahead, so a lot to talk about. Remember, we are streaming live just about everywhere: Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, at TLS Live Show. And you can watch us at truthliveshenanigans.com as well.
Tweet me, tweet me, tweet me.
All right. Now we know you love our show and want us to keep doing this. So let's try to share TLS with the world. Just invite 2 of your friends or more if you really love us, and that'll be a huge help to getting the word out. Just mention your friends in the comments section using the @ and their name, and that'll start to get the word out for us. And of course, we love it when you join in the conversation. In those comments, we'll be checking to see what you have to say in all of our live feeds, and we'll be responding to you live on air as well. So, hosts, welcome back. Another Wednesday. I have a question for you. Well, so with my job and COVID, I'm one of the fortunate ones that gets to telework, right? But with that, I found that the number of random Zoom meetings and email traffic just skyrocketed. It's like this on top of my like regular workload. My question to you guys, are you finding your overall workload has increased post-COVID or decreased post-COVID? Let's start with Lizzie.
Increased. One, again, I'm a professor, so I teach 5 classes at Howard University here in DC, all remotely. But I'm also teaching a sports journalism class with CUNY Graduate School of Journalism in New York remotely. So that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 classes a day with Howard, Zoom for every class.
Wow.
Then on Thursday, Zoom with my sports journalism class. Then we have office hours, which are Zooming right along. And then we have these faculty meetings that they keep wanting to have while I'm having my classes. So I have to try to figure out a split screen. So yeah, I'm on Zoom all day, every day. And when you do things remotely like this, you have to be very meticulous with your instruction.
Yep.
You can't just, go fly by the night in the classroom and make up things as you go. You have to account for all of that dead air, that dead space. You have to encourage your students when they have their cameras off. You have to encourage your students when they don't want to say anything. So I feel like I'm on 24/7. So definitely it increased. I need a raise. I need a stimulus package. I need all of that.
Robbie, how about you? How's your work looking?
I work in a support role in academia and specifically in information technologies. So my workload has increased because we are supporting the distributed learning environment. We are training a lot of our faculty, our teaching faculty are retired physicians. So there's a bit of a technology barrier. So we try to bridge that with a lot of training. So I definitely spend a lot of my time on the phone, email. Luckily, where I sit in the organization, I don't have a lot of Zoom meetings per se. We have our own team meetings, but I'm not being pulled in all directions by the organization. My workload manageable, but it has definitely increased.
Yeah, I see Jacqueline Robinson says 1,000 times yes, and Vaughn Perry said increased as well. East, what about you?
I'm a little different. My full-time job is juvenile probation. So I believe during the pandemic, my job is kind of predicated on the amount of arrests of juveniles in the city.
Interesting.
And what I believe is during the pandemic and going forward, I believe that the Washington Police Department, if at all possible, wants to minimize the amount of arrests that are occurring in the city. Because quite honestly, I think they want to minimize physical contact, with as many people as possible for their own safety. So,
So to be clear,
I
wait.
believe.
So to be clear,
I'm
you're
sorry.
one of the people who are putting all the little kids in jail. That's what you do.
I don't put kids in jail.
That's supposed to be your boy. He's always calling you out. That's supposed to be your boy.
And matter of fact, they do not want kids in jail. So, eh, regardless of how heinous of an offense that they commit, they
Mhm.
usually get out pretty quickly, that's a different story, maybe a different topic. But
Mm-hmm.
I said all that to say, I say my workload is manageable.
That's good.
I don't want to say it's light, but it's manageable.
Well, you're really fortunate then. Do you have to go in? You have to go in, right?
Not yet.
No,
My
sir.
agency is in. We're discussing formulating a plan to go in
All right.
and
Yeah, I
figure
thought
things
with
out.
teleworking, I thought it would slow down or we'd be able to chill. Now, for a little bit, I will admit, in the very beginning, when people were trying to figure things out, it was a little slower. But man, as soon as people started to figure out Zoom and meetings, and oh my God, I literally have meetings all day long, but that's
Yep.
on top of the workload because people will do
Yep.
random meetings that if you were in the office, you could have just walked by somebody's desk and said, "Hey, what's going on?" But now they want a half hour, 45-minute meeting to say, "Hey, what's going on?" you know, so yeah, it's off the chain. All right, so cool. Let me tell you what Truth Lies Shenanigans is all about, and we've given you a little taste, but what we do is we'll share our truths and opinions with you. We'll call out those lies and we'll be pointing out the crazy shenanigans going on. But most importantly, on this show, we try to have some fun with shenanigans of our own. And we have one single rule, which someone broke in the last show. If you're caught cussing, there's a $10 penalty. And if you guys are caught cussing 3 times in the same show, you'll be sending a love letter to our East dear friend Trump.
Here we go.
East, I thought you said you didn't like people lying on you. I thought you said you didn't like people lying on you.
That's what I said. Here we go
Are you
again.
are you you gonna hold a grudge against me, East? Please don't.
It's like
Hey, Rupka,
Lizzie,
welcome.
as you-
All right, so if you caught cussing 3 times, we'll be sending a love letter. Like I said, Liz E is way in the lead on this thing. Somebody has a really foul mouth on this. I don't know who, but yes, somebody.
Well, you
Liz is
gotta cuss
winning.
these cheaters out. You gotta cuss these cheaters out. When you catch folks cheating and lying
I
on
know
you
what
all
you're
the
talking
time,
about. I know what
you
you're
gotta
talking
cuss them out.
about. All right, everyone clear on the rule? All right, let's get to our hot topics. We're just gonna jump right into it. We got a lot of hot topics, a lot of important topics to talk about. So let's get to it.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, the way our hot topics works, each of our hosts comes with a topic in the news they want to discuss. They'll tell us about their hot topic, then they'll ask a question, and we'll start our timer. And our host will discuss what's going on. Once time is up, we'll see Gingy, who will be dancing to our theme song, and he'll let us know when time is up, and we'll move on to the next host and their topic. Talk about
I sure just know I can't go too
whatever they want. No comment. No comment. Again, make sure you're sharing your thoughts and feelings and questions online because we will be listening and responding. And today we are starting with Lizzie. Is this a truth, lie, or shenanigans, Lizzie?
It's a truth. It's a truth. It's a recent truth, but it's laced with a lot of shenanigans, a lot of insubordination, a lot of people in power not doing anything once again. So hopefully most of you have been following the news, watching what's going on with the Breonna Taylor situation down in Louisville. Word came down today that the city of Louisville came to a consensus about a settlement for a wrongful death settlement with Breonna Taylor's family. So Breonna Taylor, if you may have forgotten, Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home on March 13th. So we're talking about 2 seasons have gone by. This was right before spring. We've had summer. And now we are pushing towards fall, autumn, and no one has still been brought up on charges. No one has still been arraigned. There hasn't been any grand juries in the death of Breonna Taylor. But what the city has done has decided that they were going to award the family $12 million for her untimely death, for her murder. So my first question to the panel is this justified or is this hush money?
Hmm. How about we start with
Who
East
wants
on
to
this one?
start?
Let's start with East. You're muted,
Can't hear you.
East.
apologize for that. I found it strange that they issued the settlement and no one has been arrested to date. And to Lizzie's point, it just kind of feels like, okay, please just go away. Here's some money. I need you to be quiet about this. Go do what you do, buy your houses, buy your Escalades, or whatever you do. I just need y'all to shut up and go away. And it's unfortunate that the government feels like though they can just pay them to go away. And one of the aspects of the settlement I found encouraging was that they mandated some police reforms within the Louisville Police Department. But otherwise, no arrests, it's unacceptable. And it would take it would take a lot to reject the settlement, to say, no, look, we're not taking that money and we're not doing anything until we have arrests in our daughter's case, Breonna's case. That would take a lot, to be honest. You know, they're throwing $12 million at this family. I don't know their financial situation. It's a lot. That's a lot of integrity to say, no, we're not taking this money until there's an arrest. But it just feels a lot like, just please shut up.
Rob?
I'm going to have to go with East. It absolutely is. That's hush money. It's shameful, and like you said, East, it's a lot of money to offer the family. And even if a family is well off, $12 million is it definitely will make you question where you stand on something. Definitely will make you question your integrity. But at the end of the day, it is just a smokescreen to make things go away. We've seen this time and time again in a variety of circumstances, and it's just unfortunate that in this situation we're talking about a young woman's life.
Yeah. I like the point that Mike Winter made. So he says that they don't have control over charges. That's up to the district attorney. But yeah, I mean, there should be charges clearly in this, because I mean, she was murdered clearly, and even if, let's say, we don't make, you know, we don't say that the actual shooters are completely at fault. Someone gave some awful information. There is a lot of people at fault here. It's not just, I mean, the shooters obviously are at fault. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of pieces to this that haven't been addressed. I mean, why are we going in? Who gave them the right to go in? And I mean, there are so many parts to this that haven't been addressed at all. I am glad that she got some settlement, got something, um, her parents and her family. But yeah, I mean, will we call it hush money? I don't know if I call it hush money, but it was a reasonable settlement. Unfortunately, a lot of mistakes were made, and a lot of idiots were involved in what happened.
I
And to
think
your point, Neil, just
go
real
ahead.
quick, just in the New York Times article about the catastrophe surrounding Breonna Taylor, it was noted that they were doing surveillance on the apartment, and for some strange reason, they didn't realize that a man went in with her into her apartment, because they assumed that she was there alone and it was going to be a simple issuance of a warrant without all of this drama. What they didn't realize was that there was a man in there who was legally carrying a weapon. And when they banged on the door and he thought it was an intruder, he defended himself and Breonna Taylor. So to your point, Neil, there's a lot of layers to this that they need to unravel to figure out who's exactly culpable in this.
And I just want to add to my point on this because Mike Winter, for some reason, I'm in total agreement with Mike Winter today. But second degree murder at a minimum, right? And I totally agree with that. At a minimum, second degree murder, because there should be some type of charge. The shooter is gone because of his reckless disregard for shooting with no target in sight. Go ahead, Lizzie.
So it should be noted that I believe, at least from my research that I did today, that this is one of the largest settlements, wrongful death settlements for a situation like this in the country. If you think back to when Trayvon Martin was killed, The settlement that they received from the city, and even though the police were not involved in that shooting, the settlement that they received, I believe, from the city was about $1 million. And so far, his parents have said they haven't touched that money.
Trayvon was
Because
$1
they,
million?
yeah, I believe it was $1 million.
Wow.
But remember, that the city was not responsible for his death, and so the parents have said we haven't touched that money. We think it's blood money. But as it relates to Breonna Taylor here, while I understand that, you know, the city of Louisville and the district attorney who decides to bring charges in this case are separate, but they also work together. They also work as a tandem.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that we are still here in September
Mm-hmm.
and there hasn't been any pressure put on either the city to pressure the DA or the DA him or herself is quite telling. And this is kind of like, if you think about it, I'm not sure if you guys remember the Ayanna Jones story from back in 2010. She was a young girl who was at her grandmother's house, asleep on the couch. The police came to serve a no-knock warrant.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, they tried to bang the door in. Then they threw a grenade into the living room, not aware that this little girl was asleep on the couch. And then when the officer who began shooting said that the grenade impaired his vision, he saw something move. He thought it was someone who had a weapon, so he started shooting, shot the little girl in the head. She died. That case went to trial, mistrial, and then they decided that they weren't going to refile charges again. So there was no justice in that case. And what I fear is that we are looking at, especially since this has taken so long to even convene a grand jury, that we are looking at something quite similar to what Ayanna Jones experienced.
Yeah. Jacqueline Robinson says it's sit down and shut up money. Yeah. Right.
And it's sad. It's sad because, like you said, you know, the parents aren't going to reject the money. We don't know what their financial situation was. We don't know how much this has set them back, even in terms of seeking any type of counseling in the future for what they have gone through. But at the same time, that should not have any bearing on any type of justice that the city of Louisville, that the district attorney's office tries to seek for this young woman. No amount of money is going to bring her back. However, they should be moving forward and trying to figure out and hold someone accountable for her death.
East, you had something else you wanted to say?
No, it's just the Louisville Police Department is just playing the waiting game.
That's what you think? Okay.
It seems to be the tactic is to wait
it out. Wait it out.
And then hopefully people are so ADD that they'll just forget. And then there might be a blurb about, oh, we charge these officers with bad conduct, and then it'll go away back like in 21 or 22, something like that.
Right. All right. Jacqueline Robinson also said hush money as the taxpayers will be stuck with the tab. They couldn't get away with smearing her, so it is being treated like nuisance lawsuit. All right. Well, let's move on to the next topic. Great topic, Lizzie. Thank you. East, let's go with your topic. Is this a truth, lie, or shenanigans?
There's some truth and some lies being told. And we can start with the truth.
Okay, start with the truth. Let's go.
And I found this article in the Washington Post about 2 large glaciers in the Antarctic tearing loose from its foundation. And with these glaciers tearing away from their foundation, it poses a risk of the sea levels rising. And some of the cities that are at sea level or below sea level, of course, are in danger of flooding. And what the problem is that you have some leaders, unfortunately, our dear leader, 45, are saying things that do not back.
Didn't you mean to say my?
Our. No. Really, I should say Lizzie and East, dear leader, because Rob B is in Canada.
Oh, that's right.
So
Yeah,
I should make
they had
oh,
nothing to do with this.
right. So Rob is absolved from this mess. But
I was fortunate.
45, yeah, right. 45 making he's saying these things that are against climate change, and he's made some comments over his term, and I believe we have a montage of all of his comments that he's made about climate change or not believing in climate change.
Question.
Global warming being the biggest problem facing this country is insane.
The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is killing these energy companies.
I'm not denying climate change, but it could very well go back. You know, we're talking about over millions of years.
If we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
Okay, it'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Hey, well, I don't think science knows, actually. And I think I know more about the environment than most people.
What an idiot, man. Oh, my God. Man.
So
do you feel sorry for us? Do you feel sorry for us?
That's funny.
So with these glaciers breaking away in the Antarctic, or in Antarctica, excuse me, with the wildfires in California and all over the West Coast, with the hurricane that pretty much stalled over Alabama and the northwest section of Florida, what else do climate change non-believers need to see in order to believe that climate change is currently occurring? What else needs to occur? Let's start with Rob.
Well, you're talking to an old school Boy Scout environmentalist. So from the early 80s, I've adopted some very green policies, and as I've gotten older, it's gotten better. But yeah, it blows me away that in this day and age, with the amount of evidence that is available for people, verified, quality evidence, not just some Facebook anti-mask, anti-vax, hey, there's no climate change. The facts are there. I really wish I knew what it would take to get people on board with it. I know, for example, in our city, they just released in February, they're going to be doing garbage collection every other week. And people are losing their minds. But if you recycle, if you compost, if you do all these little things, you can make a difference. But it's when you have a person in a position of power like Trump, who he knows a lot about the environment. He does. And he may know more than anyone on how it impacts his businesses and the way that he does business.
Yep.
So I'll give him that.
About his pocket.
With a little bit of additional context, but no, it's about making money for him. And he just so smugly refutes it with no evidence whatsoever. So I wish I had an answer for you, East, because I would be beating that drum. I would day and night just to get people on board with it.
Yeah, can I go next?
Sure, go ahead, Neil.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't stand this dude for one. I mean, the reality is, I mean, you're looking at you talked about the glaciers, but we're looking at it, and actually, I just saw a comment from Monica Powell Gerald. California is burning, the East is freezing, the South is flooding. I mean, at some point, you got to realize something is up, right? And then, yeah, there is a possibility. The Earth does go through cycles. It's true. We go through cycles where it cools down and it warms up. But the rate that it's happening is like crazy. It's absolutely crazy when you're looking at two huge glaciers. If you've seen Greenland, I mean, they have shown there have been so many documentaries on Greenland is literally green now when it used to be,
Well, that's because Trump didn't get a chance to buy it. Remember, he wanted
Oh,
to
that's
buy
right. He
it.
didn't want to buy it. Yeah, I mean, but see, even it's funny. That's to Rob's point. It was his pockets. He was thinking about. He's like, oh, you know what? Global warming right here, perfect. I get a nice green land that used to be white. I mean, no, okay, no pun intended there, but you get the idea. you get the idea. But
believe in white, brother. Thought you didn't believe in white, Neo.
you're misrepresenting my comments. But anyway, so yeah, Lizzie, go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
No, I agree with what Neo said, that it's true. The Earth is naturally changing. The Earth constantly goes through a metamorphosis, but what we are used to is at a slower rate. We are also used to it being a natural change, not man-made change, not emissions change, not gases changing the environment. And so what's happening now, where you said that we have parts of the world melting, we have parts of our ecosystem disappearing. We have animals that are dying off at a rapid rate that normally would not be happening if not for human interaction, but also if not for human neglect. And the fact that you have all of these scientists who keep banging on the door, like, listen to us. This is what is happening. We have the proof. Don't you see it? And a certain sect, a certain side of our political spectrum here in the United States keeps saying, like, no, 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 that's not what we are going to think about. We just want to deal with the money that's involved. Or if this does happen, I'm going to be dead anyway. So what's it matter to me?
Yeah, I've
It's
heard
not
that a lot,
affect.
actually.
It's not going to affect me. And so it's scary to think about. It's really scary to think about, especially, people kind of don't really understand climate change. Like, they think if it's one 80-degree day in January, then, oh my God, that's climate change. Well, that's
Right.
not really climate change. It's the average climate, as best as I understand it.
Yeah.
However, given that, when I lived in Finland from 92, it was almost 15 months, 92 to 93, no one had air conditioners in their house. It was unheard of for the temperatures to get above 82, 83 in the summertime. And we're talking in, again, 92, 93. So over 2 decades ago. Now when you go, there are heat waves every summer. The average climate has gone, the average temperature has gone up. I remember, I believe it was like in 2010, 2011, I was still living in New York City. No snow in Helsinki, Finland in January. No snow. My Finnish mother emailing me, texting me, oh my God, we have no snow. It's like 50 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Snowstorm in New York, 40 degrees in Washington, D.C. That is not normal.
Yep.
It starts snowing in Finland at the end of August, early September, and runs through mid-March, April. So if you were talking about no snow in Helsinki in June, something is wrong, people. It's too warm.
When you listen to Trump and supporters, they're always talking about weather. The weather changes. There's a huge difference between weather and climate. Climate is a pattern of changes. Weather is just a change that happens randomly. But when you start to see patterns of changes, like climate changing at a drastic rate, and worldwide, it's not like you're just seeing it like in just certain places. Maybe, London is stopped having rain and it's kind of weird. Or maybe we just happen to have more hurricanes in the US and that's it. But when you're seeing a worldwide change, when you see Australia on fire, California on fire, when you see all these places, and then, of course, Africa with, incredible heat waves, and then, like you said, Helsinki and Finland, it's a clear pattern of a change that is happening at an extreme rate, which means that there has to be some accelerant going on, and it can't just be natural.
But to
be a stickler for Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, I hate to be a stickler for detail, but it doesn't get up to 82 in Finland. It might get up to 28, 29 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God! Hello, parties in America.
Canadians and their logical metric system.
If I can just real quick, like
go ahead, East, real quick.
His constituency lives in the places that would be most affected by climate change, the farmlands of the Midwest.
That's a good point.
The southeast portion of the United States. I mean, Florida's going to be underwater. Louisiana, Alabama, those areas are most in danger of being affected negatively by climate change. But yet, those are where some of the most staunch anti-climate change believers reside. I don't know how to break that bubble.
Yeah. So we got some comments online. We have a funny one. We got a quote from President Trump from Mark Gagne. If we just load a trebuchet with trees and lob them at the tropical storms, they'll explode and put out a hurricane. Quote from Trump. Mike Winter responded, no, he didn't want a trebuchet. He wanted a missile launched into the eye and disperse the hurricanes. And then they have a little more back and forth going on, but that's funny.
Your president said it's gonna get cooler. It's gonna go. It's just gonna get cooler.
Like COVID's gonna go away, right? Just gonna disappear one day, right?
Oh, sure is.
Yeah. Jacqueline Robinson said when we were in Alaska about 4 years ago, we saw ourselves that the glaciers were melting. There were only 2 inches of snow. It's crazy. Monica Powell says real talk East. Mark says that's such a Canuck clarification. Rob B.
Yeah, I owe you one for that one, Rob. I owe you one for that one.
Mike Winter says it was 100 degrees in Siberia this past winter. Siberia.
Wow.
All right. That was another good topic. Good job, East. So Rob B. Truth, lie, or shenanigans?
You know what? We'll call it shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
We'll call this shenanigans.
Right. Shenanigans.
I think so. So I guess to present it, ESPN host Maria Taylor for Monday Night Football posted this tweet saying, "Rookie night feels like Monday Night Football." And this is the outfit that she opted to wear for work that day. Radio host Dan Neal out of Chicago for The Score on a radio station went on to compare, there we go, NFL sideline reporter or host for the AVN annual award presentation. AVN is the adult video, I don't know what the N is. Adult video
news.
Sure. Thank you.
Not that I know this stuff or anything. I just happened to read the article about it, and I just happened to know. I'm not knowledgeable in this stuff.
A little too much explaining.
It was a test, and there's been a lot of explaining. So this gentleman has subsequently lost his job after posting his comments. Used the term very, very loosely. But there was a follow-up tweet from Miss Taylor saying, "Well, Danny dearest, if you would like to continue making sexist comments about me, please bring your misogyny with you to the NBA Countdown doubleheader I'll be hosting tomorrow night. Hey, ladies, remember, you can wear whatever you feel confident in." So, my questions to my co-hosts is what was wearing for work appropriate? And is the response to fire Dan McNeil appropriate?
Let's start with East on this one.
And I would think that ESPN has stringent dress code for its hosts, its sideline reporters. And she's been on the network for a number of years. And as she stated in her tweet, she hosts NBA Countdown, and she's hosted, I believe she's on College Game Day. So she's a veteran on that network. So she's acutely aware of her attire and what's appropriate to wear. So I would say that what she had on, I don't find anything wrong with it. It was appropriate. Uh, I find it interesting that he made this comment. It kind of reminds me of when Michelle Obama wore something off of her shoulder. And down here in the States, Rob, it was almost a scandal that the First Lady of the United
I
States.
remember this.
Right, wore something.
It was a
It
scandal.
was right. So, to your
With the
other
current
question,
First Lady, wait a minute, the current First Lady.
I've seen her vagina. Okay? I've seen her vagina.
Just want to make sure we understand the difference. These Trump supporters who hated Michelle Obama's shoulders, but what they accept was nothing. Okay, go ahead, Goody. Sorry.
Right. And
digressing.
To your question, to your second part of your question, should Dan McNeil have been fired? My first reaction is no. What he said was extremely stupid. It was in poor taste. It's in poor taste for me to write anything stupid. He texted the avian, so he told on himself. He let you know what he does in his free time. But I don't know if he should have been. I don't think he should have been fired. Because it goes into some of the earlier conversations we had on the show about cancel culture, where you say something wrong or inappropriate or stupid, and you're immediately canceled instead of maybe a reprimand, maybe a suspension.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he should have lost his job.
Lizzie, what are your thoughts?
Well, for those in the audience who don't know, I am also a sports journalist. I worked at Sports Illustrated for 18 and a half years. While I was never a sideline reporter for the NFL, I have been in plenty of NBA locker rooms, baseball locker rooms, football locker rooms. I know what inappropriate attire looks like. And it's usually not from the people who are there, who are working, who have a credential, who are doing a job. It's usually from a girlfriend or a wife or a mistress who's trying to make a point to her man. Never once did I look at Maria's outfit and think that it was anything inappropriate, that it was definitely anything that should have been likened to something out of the adult porn industry. And so do I think he should have been fired? Absolutely. In 2020, maybe not in 1998, maybe not in 2005, but in 2020, yes. We have to elevate our conversations, especially as it relates to Black women, Black bodies, and Black space. As East pointed out a few years ago, the country went wild because Michelle Obama dared to show her shoulders. Country went wild because her husband dared to wear a tan suit, but at least he was covered. But Michelle Obama,
yeah.
Amazing.
said Obama in beige, gasp.
Right? I mean, Michelle, she had, these amazingly toned arms. And the conservatives in this country lost their minds. There was nothing about this young woman that was inappropriate. There was nothing about her that should have been reduced to being associated with an adult film network. And so for that, yeah, I do think he should lose his job. And actually, this isn't his first controversy. That's another thing. He's made some controversial statements in the past. And so, as a Black woman, as a former field reporter out there in the sports world, she was a lot nicer than I would have been. She's the mature version.
That's probably true.
She's the mature version of Susan.
No question.
She's the mature version of Lizzie. Because I probably would not have been as nice in my retort, in my response to him. And it begs the question also, would he have said the same thing to Erin Andrews? Fox sideline reporter?
She does get a little, she wears some provocative stuff too. I mean,
so great topic, Rob, because when it first came out, I'm just like, here we go again. Can Black women just be in this country? Can't we just be? Can't we just be?
So to the first question, Rob, I'm gonna say, I mean, yeah, I think there's another question. I mean, do you think that women, particularly sports anchors, dress provocatively or sexy kind of on purpose to kind of appeal specifically to a mostly male audience?
Which ones? Show me some ones that are dressing provocatively or sexy.
Look at the picture.
I mean,
that's a shoulder, but show me some. He said sports reporters, so we're talking plural here. Show me some other ones.
Anchors. So,
anchor, well, in the anchor booth, you're not, you have on a top and that's it. Like, you're not dressed in any kind of way. No one's seen you in the anchor booth but your producers. But if you were at a game, show me some other ones that are dressed provocatively.
I mean, or are we talking, are they doing it to look sexy, or are they just wearing comfortable clothes? I like the comment that she made where it was confident, a confident woman, because there's a difference between, just because I can't imagine some of the clothes that some women wear are comfortable, um, but but they wear them for a specific reason, and I don't know. I think a lot of anchors do tend to wear a more
There.
sexy clothing than say some of the male anchors who wear ugly ties and and suits.
See, I think we're getting into.
Rest in peace, Craig Sager, but that was all Craig Sager.
Oh, Craig Sager was awesome. I think we need a little more time for this topic, so I'm gonna give it a little bit more time, because Rob B hadn't had a chance to speak. But yeah, I mean, I'm not suggesting that all anchors are doing that, but I feel like it is sort of the situation. But with that being said, but to answer Rob's question about whether or not he should be fired, I don't know that this lives up to fireable offense. I mean, he made a comment on her that he thought that she looked like maybe a porn star. I mean, I don't know this is a fireable offense. I just don't see how this is a fireable offense. But
do you know what a porn star looks like and what they do when they're doing?
No, I've never seen a porn star personally. To be honest with you, I've never. I don't even know what porn stars.
Like liars! I thought you said you didn't like liars. This is your boy.
I've never actually seen a porn star.
He can't even get it out, so that tells
Thank you.
He just told on himself.
But all right, I'm gonna let Rob B get up in here. Go ahead, Rob B.
It's the rebuke that she threw out. Hey, ladies, remember you can wear whatever you feel confident in, and I'm okay with that. Absolutely.
I like that response. Actually, I really did like that response.
Dress appropriately for work. This is a beef that I have in the standard workplace. There's a double standard with what is appropriate, and sure, we can relegate it to the fashion industry, whatnot. But if I were to wear a comparable outfit to what Miss Taylor was wearing, with the leather straps, with the leather just below the breast, or just above the breast, I should say, without the sleeves and just the arm braces, people would look at me and say, Rob, you're not trying out for Gladiator. Wear something appropriate for work. So sex sells. I will give Neo that point. So if you put somebody on screen who is pretty and you put her in a very lovely outfit, that outfit is perfect for going out with friends. It's perfect for going out to the restaurant, going out to the club, doing whatever you want. But showing up to work like that, I don't feel that it's professional. There are absolutely power suits that are available that are fashionable to women that they can wear in the workplace. I think it is a double standard, and I personally don't feel that that's work appropriate.
I just want to say Kevin Thaxton agreed. He said she doesn't look porn-esque, clubby, but not AVN.
Yeah,
porn-esque.
And that's it. That's where the comment was that that guy made, Dan McNeil. His comments, relegating it to the porn industry, absolutely, completely disrespectful, very misogynistic. And I agree with Liz. In 2020, that's a fireable offense. You do not want your brand associated to that kind of individual.
But also, too, Rob, in 2020, ESPN is selling a different type of brand. And so my point to you is, whereas you might think it's inappropriate for work, like E said, no one at ESPN told her to put on something else. And they do have wardrobe for their on-screen talent. And so if it was an issue for the producers, particularly any male producers that they had or any female producers that they had, they would have told her, we're just going to cover up your shoulders a little bit. We're going to make this, we're going to take this down a couple of notches. When in reality, they didn't. And she also, did you see what she had on in the studio for NBA Countdown last night? Showing more shoulder than what she had on there. And so this is coming from somewhere else. It's not just her. This is coming, this directive is coming from somewhere else. And so if they have a problem with it, then they need to address it with her. But still, there's nothing about that particular outfit that warrants the porn connection. And again, Mr. McNeil would have never said that to Erin Andrews. Absolutely not. 100%. Listen, Aaron, well, I'm not even going to get into my rant about Erin Andrews because I'm all woman here. I'm all about the sisterhood here tonight. So we are going to dog Erin Andrews this evening. But yeah, I just think that taking it to that particular level where you are assigning this woman, because her shoulders are showing, you are assigning her to being in a porn, being on her knees, performing fellatio, and all of these other things. That's a bit much, and it could get you fired. It could get you fired. Neo, we can't hear you.
It definitely went over the line, in my opinion. So I totally agree with you guys. I think it went over the line, but again, fireable, I'm not so sure. All right, let me get to the comments online real quick. So Mark says, Dan McNeil must watch some some really boring pornography. Jeanette Brown, I want to see the sexy guys suit. Show it to me. Otherwise, can we please shut up about what women aren't wearing? Jeanette Brown says, like that ratings. I suspect she gets some influence to dress exactly. Oh, exactly like that. Yeah, she probably does get some influence from higher ups. Jose said, but at no point did the employer say it was inappropriate. I did get called out a couple of times by Mike Winter and looks like Mark on my knowledge of AVN. Mike Winter said Obama wore a nicer looking tan suit than Reagan wore in the 80s. They were just bitter. Yeah. A lot of comments online about this one. This was a feisty one. That's good. All right.
Yeah, but I think one last point. I think we talk about African American women or women of color and different body shapes more specifically. You look at different body shapes, different women who are of curvier proportion sizes, and their attire is not necessarily inappropriate, but because of their body type is taken as being sexy or maybe borderline inappropriate.
We gotta go to the next topic, guys. We gotta go to the next topic.
Oh, okay.
Just very quickly, before we get to the next topic, Bob and everyone on the panel, look up a former SI, Sports Illustrated, sideline reporter. Her name was Jen Sturger. Sterger, if I'm not mistaken. You don't have to do it during this time here, but look up Jen Sturger. She was the one that Brett Favre was sending nude pictures to. But before that, look at what she used to wear when she did sideline reporting for Sports Illustrated, and no one said nary a word. She was the guy that Brett Musburger.
So you're saying this is a race thing and not a woman thing?
It leads to it because she was a young lady that Brett Musburger saw in the crowd at a Florida State game because her fake boobs were out. He called her out. Oh my God, she's hot, blah, blah. And so she became famous because of that. And that's how she got her career in sports television. And when she used to do spots for us for Sports Illustrated, it was all out.
I'm saying that I think this.
And no one said a word.
I feel
no one
like
said a word.
I think women are sexualized often, so I don't know that it's just. I don't know this is a black or white thing on this one. I don't know. All right, just a
It was
reminder.
a Sports Illustrated.
Just a reminder, guys, share us out. Make sure you're out there sharing. Make sure you're doing some mentions. Let people know we're here. All right, so the next topic is all mine. Now, truth, lies, or shenanigans. This is truth that I'm going to unveil to you guys. Um, Shenanigans as well. But so what I'm going to do is let me go over a quick history lesson with you. Now, America has a real long, sordid history of mass sterilizations, mostly of people of color. Now, Indiana passed the first eugenic sterilization law in 1907, and from there, 31 other states followed. Now, under those laws, about 60,000 people were sterilized after 1907 in procedures that were forced or involuntary. And the justification was that people were being sterilized because they were unfit to reproduce, usually listing them as insane, feeble minded, dependent, diseased, or simply poor. And as you expect, the largest portions of these sterilizations were Black people. Um, but it also included Latinos, Native Americans, Japanese, and Chinese immigrants as well. Now, did you know that over a 6-year period in the 1970s, just a few years ago, physicians sterilized about 25% of the Native American women of childbearing age? 25%. In 1965, Puerto Ricans found that about 1/3 of all Puerto Rican women of childbearing age had been sterilized. That's 1/3. And of course, the South was awful, but the worst was North Carolina, who set up an actual eugenics board, a eugenics board that decided who would be sterilized. North Carolina sterilized nearly 10,000 people through the 1970s, and it should be noted that 65% of all the sterilizations were Black women, even though 25% of the female population were Black, just 25%. So that's a huge discrepancy. Now, so we thought after the 70s, when this was outlawed, that this was all over, but maybe it's not. So there's a nurse who worked at an immigration detention center in Georgia who filed a whistleblower complaint alleging a lack of medical care and unsafe work practices that facilitated the spread of COVID-19. But more shocking in her report, she also says that immigrant women received a large number of questionable hysterectomies. So my simple question to you guys is, do you believe this nurse? And do you believe that the U.S. would continue their history of eugenics programs on these migrant detention centers? We'll start with Rob B.
Okay. When I dug into this story a little bit, what I discovered was this is a private detention facility under contract by the Department of Homeland Security. Like I said, no, there were no COVID tests that were performed because they didn't want to quarantine or distance any of the people. So, yeah, as soon as you privatize anything, and I've mentioned this before, as far as your privatized prisons, the only way that it's profitable is if there's business going through it. So all of these procedures that are being done are being billed back to the US government. And it also helps to serve a much darker agenda because Trump wants to build a wall. He doesn't want the migrants in. So what's the easiest way to do it? All right, bring them in, give them medical care, give them phony diagnoses that they have cervical problems or they have uterine problems, and sterilize them.
Yep.
So it's, yes, I 100% believe that this is happening in a privately run institution that's under contract by Department of Homeland Security. 100% believe this.
East.
I'll keep it simple. Yes. Absolutely. No question about it. Especially dealing with immigrants from asshole countries, as 45 put it. No doubt about it.
It's a quote. You can say it. It's a quote. Shithole country. It's a quote. You can say it.
Okay. I'll do that next time. But
yes, she's right.
But no.
She's right on this one.
No, like Robbie said, this country is all about continuing some type of money grab. This is part of capitalism. They're running experiments on these people, live experiments on people, and it's horrible. Lizzie?
Yeah, go ahead, Lizzie.
Rob, were you on the show? I can't remember if it was Sunday's show or if it was last Wednesday when we were together on the show where I talked about Georgia being the new Florida in America and how we need it to secede from the Union as well. A lot of these crazy stories that you used to hear coming out of Florida are now coming out of Georgia. And this is yet another example of that. I 100% believe that this could be true. For my personal, edification, I need to do my own research, but I would not be surprised if this was true at all. It's been done, like Neo said, the history shows it's been done before. And like Rob said, when you add the money, the dollar bills, y'all, to it, private institutions, private prisons, private organizations that deal with medical care, they are the devil because there are no checks and balances. And so even if this story proves to be true, are we really going to know the true story? Are we really going to know how many people have been going through this and through all of the other atrocities that this nurse is talking about? So yeah, I 100% believe that it's true, and it's disgusting. I mean, again, this is the same organization through our government that put children in cages, that still has children in cages, that lost thousands of children.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they sterilize the mothers so there wouldn't be more of those children? So yeah, I believe it 100%. 100%.
Kevin Thaxton pointed out, I was going to bring it up as well. Planned Parenthood was started by Margaret Sager, and her whole purpose for Planned Parenthood was to prevent the growth, of population or to reduce the population. And she experimented as well on sterilizations. So, go ahead, Lizzie.
And that may have been the origin of Planned Parenthood, but Planned Parenthood has grown a thousand times beyond.
No question. Yes. Yes. Thank you. I mean, it's important to make that distinction. It is important to make that distinction. Planned Parenthood has gone beyond that, but that was the point I was making was this has been a long time thing. Now the other question, right? Now the other question I have for you guys is, how do we? I mean, is there ever a reason for forced eugenics? I mean, could you ever imagine? I mean, because I kind of wonder what goes through people's minds to say that we are going to just sterilize people against their will without letting them know, like you said. I mean, and these again, these are typically their false diagnoses or lies that they provide, and they trick them into forced sterilization or lie to them. I mean, is there ever a reason in anyone's mind?
I can see a reason that they could maybe give to us. I think it's totally immoral and probably illegal. One of the reasons I can see that they could try is if a parent, male or female, have produced numerous kids that they can't care for, and if they being the government can demonstrate that this person has produced 5, 10 kids and has not financially paid for that or provided for those children, then whatever the metrics are that the government has determined that they can't provide for these kids, they'll enforce sterilization on that parent. I don't believe in that, but I can see, especially a Republican controlled government, trying that maneuver, especially if they put the Black and brown people at the face of that movement.
Yeah.
I can see that, but like I said, I don't agree with it.
I just want to say, Mike Winter just pointed out, you don't have to believe her. 4 lawyers have already confirmed it. Jeanette Frown said, I am listening to a fascinating book on genetics heredity She has her mother's laugh, and the sterilization of the feeble-minded had me driving off the road, especially as they described the feeble-minded, and it was all traumatized people who had been traumatized. That was feeble-minded. They also did the same thing for poor people if they were poor. I mean, it was just supposedly, it was hereditary to be poor. Yeah. So this is pretty crazy. Let me read some of the other comments real quick, and then we'll move on. Mark says, I'm all for the sterilization of Republicans. Okay. that's a bit far. But funny. Him and the Koch brothers, Mike Winter says, NASA was built on the knowledge of science, Mark said. Monica Powell wanted to make sure we said Planned Parenthood delivers primary care services and functions as an FQHC currently. And Jose was wondering, why aren't men being sterilized versus the women? Anybody have questions on that? Answers for that? Lizzie, go ahead.
No, that's why okay. But real quick, Lizzie, that's why I didn't specify gender. So I said the parent, because I thought about male or female. So that was my point. It could be male or female. I'm sorry.
Any of you guys have thoughts on that?
The quick answer is because, this is, like James Brown said, this is a man's world. Men aren't going to do anything that messes up their reproductive capabilities, that messes up, what they can and cannot do with their penis. So why do you think the government is going to include men in this sterilization process? And if you have a government currently, like the government that we have now, where we don't trust a damn thing that comes out of their mouths, then why would we entrust them to force a medical procedure on citizens based on feeble-mindedness, based on retardation, based on all these other things that they can make up off of a whim? And not to say, even if those things were true, that that's a reason to sterilize people. But I don't trust this government for caca when it comes to invading someone's body medically. Yeah. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
A couple of last comments here is Kevin Thaxton said they aren't real pro-lifers. Pro-lifers aren't real pro-lifers. Liana says men aren't because women aren't valued, period. And Mark says, I got a vasectomy. The world doesn't need any more of my stupidity.
So real quick, Neo,
go ahead.
I just want to loop it back to the environmental story. Is there ever a situation where it would be acceptable? And in my mind, in order to save the human species, if we don't change our ways, if we keep consuming the way that we do, if we keep polluting and destroying the environment at the rate that we do, it will only be a matter of time before this gets very Logan's Run on us, and we will have those eugenics imposed upon us out of necessity. It won't be a matter of everybody's life has value. It's everybody's life that can contribute and survive is going to have value, just at the rate that we're decimating our environment. So maybe not in our generation, but in future generations, I fear that that's going to be a choice that's going to be forced upon the human population.
All right.
The answer to that is Biden-Harris 2020.
Get rid of Trump. That's right. All right. Good job, guys. Great hot topics. Great hot topics. All right, let's just jump right on into our game show.
Oh, Lord.
Yep. All right. So today's game show name is Name That Icon. All right.
I see you, Bob. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
All right. East, you got the scoreboard on this one?
I'm ready.
All right. So you got zeros across the board, right? Are we good? All right.
No.
Today's show will show you an image, and you'll have to tell me who or what you think it is as fast as you can. First one. The first one with the right answer gets a point. In the case of a tie, if you say it at the same time, and I'm sorry, let me clarify. If I believe that you said it at the same time, then both of you get a point. All right, Kevin Thaxton says this is Incredibles. No, it's not.
It's John Elway.
All right, any guesses on this one?
I have
Mr.
no idea.
Incredible.
Mr. Incredible. Yes, that is correct. All right.
How is that different than The Incredibles?
Because it's
This isn't-
Mr.
Incredibles is the movie. It's the franchise. This is the dad, Mr. Incredible.
All right.
I've never
Characters.
All right. So we're ready?
You're
Let's
missing
get
out,
to it.
girl.
Let's get to
All
it.
right.
Let's. All right.
All right.
So, famous people.
Trump.
Oh, Rob B definitely got that. No, I'm sorry. What we were looking for was clown, idiot, or dumbass. So okay, no.
I gave
Okay.
you a synonym.
We'll give-
Let's
All
not
right.
give people permission to disrespect the office of the presidency.
Yes, they did. Okay, so Rob B gets that point. Good job, Rob B. Too fast, buddy. All right, you ready? Characters.
Pikachu.
Good
I choose
God,
you.
dude. You are too fast. You must have like super Wi-Fi up there in Canada or something.
No, not what you. When we came off our pre-show, East, they were talking amongst themselves.
Oh, that's
in a
right.
very
Yeah, we are.
That's It's a sinister cabal.
All right. All right, ready? Everybody ready for the next one? Are you ready? All right. Character.
Cinderella.
No.
Oh, God.
Oh, Ezra.
Yes. Elsa, you got it. Lizzie got that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Lizzie, nice job, Lizzie.
I ain't
You
even
got
got no children. I ain't even got no children.
it.
That's Frozen.
Frozen. All right, next. Brand or name?
Olympics.
I got Lizzie on that one. You
ain't gonna beat
just
me
like
on sports.
a quarter of a second faster. I got Lizzie on that one. Man, you guys are good. Paxton, Mark, right on. Okay, good job. All right, let's go. Brand or name?
Disney World.
Walt
Disney World.
Nope.
Mickey
nope.
Mouse.
No.
Walt Disney
Disneyland.
Corporation.
Lizzie
Magic
got
Kingdom.
it. Disneyland.
Ah,
Disneyland. Who said Sonic the
actually
Hedgehog?
never-
Mark had Sonic the
I've actually
Hedgehog.
never been to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland multiple times. Believe that.
Yeah.
Oof.
I've been to Disney. I actually haven't been to Disney World either. I've been to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Lizzie just took the lead. Okay, let's see. Let's see if he can at least get on the board. Mark says anti-Semitism. All right. All right, the next one. Character.
Hulk, the Hulk.
Incredible Hulk.
The Hulk.
Oh, no, Rob B got that one. Rob B got that one. Rob B got that one. All
Yo,
right.
no, I see some Bill Bixby, some David Banner.
Robert Bruce Banner. That's his name.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry, Rob.
That's true. That's true, Rob. That is very true. That is not a lie. That's all right. Next one, country.
England.
UK.
London.
I think
UK.
Lizzie and Rob got that one. I think they got it at the same time. England. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got that at the same time.
I've been on that bus, actually.
Kevin Thaxton got Hulk. Kevin Thaxton did get Hulk. All right. So this is a real tie, and East is still not on the board. East, you gotta talk faster. Let me give you time to do the score first, and then let me give you time to settle in.
Here, we know East.
All right, all right. This is it. All right, you ready? Brand or name?
Cheerios.
I got Rob B on that one.
Really?
I
Oh my
got,
goodness.
but I will say East beat Lizzie.
The lies you tell. The lies you tell.
I got Rob B on that one. I got Rob B. You have to see the replay. I'm really gonna add replay. That's gonna be my next focus, or the next production is adding replay. Pixar. All right. Well, good job, guys. Good job. Good game show. All right. Before we close out, let's get in some real quick shout outs. All right, Lizzie, who do you want to shout out to?
Shout out to my baby here, Remy, who first thing this morning when I started class, he bit me. And so that's how I started my day, dealing with a bleeding hand. Then I was kind of nauseous for the rest of the day. Then I had students who didn't know whether they were coming or going. So just shout out to everyone who's still trying to get themselves together out in these Rona streets. Wear your mask. Be safe, people. Be safe.
Okay, Robbie. Who you got?
Shout out to my buddy Mark, who has had me laughing the entire show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in, Mark.
Mark,
That's
hilarious,
been a treat.
buddy. Mark, hilarious.
Shout out to my beautiful wife, Jose, who is still recovering from her gum graft earlier in the week. So she's doing much better. Hooray. And shout out to everybody that tuned in. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
A fun show. Okay, East, what you got?
Shout out to the audience, shout out to my wife, shout out to my kids, and shout out to those who are going about the absentee ballot process. Get your ballots in now. Like, follow the process. I just got a letter, a message in the mail from the post office. Get your ballots in. Request your ballots as soon as you can. Have a plan to vote.
All right. And my shout out goes to everyone online. It was a really good show. You were very interactive. I appreciate all that. That was a lot of fun. We had Mark was lively, Liana, Kevin, of course, our regulars in who we had. Saima was here today.
Mike Winter.
Mike
Jackie
Winter.
Robinson,
Looks like
Ruka.
Robin Johnson showed up. I hope everything is okay, Robin. I hope things are getting better.
Hey, girl.
I hadn't heard the update, but we did have prayers for you last. We had prayers for you on last Sunday. But yeah, Jose, of course, always active. So Jeanette Brown, good to see you. All right,
Hey,
so
Jeanette.
shout out to everyone. Thanks for joining us, guys. It was a lot of fun with you guys.
Liana.
All right.
All right, Rob, take us out. Send us home.
Well, that's our show. So that's all we have. We want to thank you for joining us. We hope maybe you learned something, gained a new perspective, even got some things off your chest, got a good laugh in. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Again,
Tweet.
Twitter, get on Twitter.
Tweet me.
Send some tweets to Lizzie, guys. All right. Make sure you join us Sunday, 4 p.m. for another great show with myself, Lizzie, Jam, and Rob B will be sitting in for Z on Sunday. All right, Rob B. So what is our final thought for the day? Good job on winning the game.
I am going to piggyback on what East was putting down, the absentee ballots. Just get out there, do the advance voting. If you have any friends that are living in Canada, any American friends in Canada, please let them know that last time there's about 600,000 votes that did get counted because people just did not turn out. Only 5% of that 600,000. So encourage them to let their voices be heard. Get those ballots in.
All right, guys. We'll see you next show Sunday. Have a good one.